Okay. I'm Mike Ungerman. This is the Central Florida Computer Society, and we're going to have our monthly meeting for the next hour. And as Huey said, we usually start things off with a 5-minute break so you can get up, stretch your legs, get a cup of coffee, get a beer, go to the bathroom, whatever you need to do. So at 5 after the hour, we'll pick it back up again, and I'll pause the record. Well, I'll leave the recording going. So if anybody
Yeah,
wants
yeah.
to ask a question, for those of you that are going to stay in place, Huey or Drew or myself or whatever will answer your questions. So free form chat for 5 minutes, and I'm going to get up and stretch my legs.
Okay. Any comments, questions while we're in our intermission? Anybody want to mention what they learned this last hour and a half, and appreciate, or did you not learn anything? Did you know it all? If so, I'll turn over the SIG to you. Comments. Come on, people. Let's talk. Are you still awake? Did I put you to sleep? Dick Vogel, how are you?
I'm doing fine, my Huey. How are you?
Good.
You always do an excellent presentation, and how you managed to budget your time so that you could put this one together today and do Tech for Senior tomorrow. I'm really impressed.
Thank you. And tomorrow and next week, Ron's semi on vacation. His family is here from overseas, and so he's spending a lot of time with them and not doing much. So I'm handling it all, and so it's a lot. It's a lot of extra work for me as well. But yeah, I somehow find the time. I wake up a lot during the night, and I can't just go right back to sleep. So I get a lot of my best work done at 2, then at 4, and then again at 6 in the morning, and then go back to sleep. Uh, and this week I may end up in a hospital for a day or so for some work that I have to have done. So yeah, I'm really budgeting my time well. Kathleen, you had your hand up.
Yes, I was thinking throughout all of this and all of every day that something else, or so 2 or 3 things are new. You must spend all of your time trying to keep up with tech.
Oh, it's a full-time job. Absolutely. I get so many newsletters, and I think I mentioned it might have been earlier today or at another time. I'll read a newsletter, and as I get down to it, I click on a link to see what's new, and then that might take me to a website that I want to look at more. And in order to look at it more, I've got to create an account for it, which means I have to open up my uh, uh, password manager so I can put in the name of the program or the website, and it's my login and password and any other information I need and how to find it again. And then look at that. And then when I go ahead, okay, this is something. So then I'm adding it to a list or I'm doing something else with it. Then I go back to the newsletter, finish that newsletter. And in the meantime, 4 more newsletters have come in. So
Have you,
it's I have found a program that's going to handle my newsletters for me, and I really like it. But I have to find the newsletters, unsubscribe from them from my regular email, and then send it to this other program with a new email address from it, and then it'll handle them all, and I can just go down those, and I don't have to worry about it. So I'm working on that, and I'm going to do a video on how I do that and what it does. But it's a way of me keeping track of the newsletters. There are just so many of them, but so many of them are good. A lot of them repeat the same information, but will have something new or a new way of explaining it. And I find it, and that's where my Evernote comes in, because then I can either save the article or copy and paste that information into my Evernote. And Evernote has really been improving themselves. They were purchased a couple of years ago, and nothing was done, probably the first year. But now they're updating almost every time I sign in, there's an update.
and have you ever counted your newsletters? Is this something you can do with the change?
Have I counted them? Yeah, Is that what you asked?
Yes, what you said, yes, counted the number of newsletters you have. Is that something that?
Yeah. I was at around 15 for quite a while, but I know that's it. It's a lot more than that.
Yes, I would think so, yes. Okay,
Uh,
anyway, as the other gentleman was saying, so you do a remarkable job, and all of us, or not everybody's like me, but all of us who are sort of behind tech by 20 or so years really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah, and it's you know what it keeps my mind active, and at my age, that's good, and and I'm also learning and enjoying it, and and I like sharing. You know, learning it is one thing, but just learning it and then dying, what's the sense? I like to learn it and then share it, and so you get some use out of me.
Yeah, I went to that Andy Huggins YouTube and played some of the ones off there about him going to a dating service, carbon dating, he called it.
Yeah, I did something on AI that showed how I created an article. I'm in the process of doing a series on comedians that make me laugh. There aren't many of them out there. And the first one that I mentioned in the first thing that I put together using AI is Andy Huggins. And
Yeah, he's very good.
yeah, if you do a search on YouTube to find him before my article is out, by all means do. He is funny, and he's an older man, and but he's a stand-up comedian, and he is very dry humor and very interesting. Stephen, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I just want to add some words to what I've already heard. You spoil us, Huey. You absolutely do, and we love to be spoiled. You not only give a first-class presentation of a complex subject, but then you archive it on the internet so we can go back and read and see what's gone on in the past. And then you put it up on video so we can watch the whole thing again. Oh my gosh, you are priceless, I have to say. Surely you are. So yes.
After every
much.
one of these meetings, I have to sit down for the next 3 or 4 days and digest all the information that has been put there.
There you go.
Okay, Mike.
Okay. Well, today we do not have a formal presentation as such. As many of you know, the Central Florida Computer Society did dissolve as a corporation, and in doing so, we cut back a lot of the services that we had. And one of those was a monthly TechSIG. And a TechSIG used to go out to Denny's, sit around a round table, and share information, show and tell, that kind of thing. So we thought that we would bring back a little bit of history, talk about current events as they affect us. Before I start that, I'm going to share my screen here, assuming I've got it set to go. Okay. You should be seeing the Central Florida Computer Society website.
We do.
Okay, good. I'm using 2 monitors and I'm running Linux. And as many of you know, I've just chosen to go with Linux on my main computers. And in doing so, you'll also see that there's not much difference between my presentation and what Huey just did on his new Dell computer running Windows. And that's as it should be, in my opinion, because my opinion is that an operating system should do just that, operate your computer and let you use applications and do things productively and not interfere with its own uniqueness, if you will. Just my opinion. But at any rate, this is the Central Florida Computer Society's landing page. If you ever have a question of how can I get on your email list or how can I get on your Discord VBS, the information is here, cfcs.org. We do use a Discord BBS. I'll just show you a quick screen of that shortly. As Huey mentioned at the beginning of the WinSig, and I'll mention here too, all of our meetings that are recorded are on our YouTube channel, on our YouTube playlists. and they're sorted by year and then by what the subject was, whether it was the WinSig or whether it was the main meeting. And Huey had mentioned if you wanted to get on the Windows Special Interest Group, go to his site on huey.net, scroll down, there's a form there to apply, and you're here, so you did do this, but spread the word to your friends and or user groups and let them know that they can come join us as well. And if you are not yet on our email Google group and you want notifications of upcoming things or items of significant interest, you can send me an email at the CFCS Social Club at mikeu18.slmail.me. And if you can read it or expand your screen and you just want a little snippet that's of interesting stuff, there's a little This Is True app that I've added to our website. I'll switch and we will go to, okay, here is Discord. And I've talked about it before, those that are seeing it for the first time, sort of an anachronism. We've recreated the old CFCS dial-up BBS in a social media system called Discord. And you just go to discord.com, get yourself an account, go to our website, and there'll be a link that will invite you to the site. You'll be in on the announcement channel, and you'll see some information on how to use CFCS. And when you get through all of that, we have activities as a group. We have organizations that are regularly publishing information, such as APCUG, the Chicago Computer Society. Tim has been sending me a lot of stuff that we've been posting up there. Our friends, the Geeks on Tour, the Goulds, Kim Commando. I think she dropped me from her newsletter, but at any rate, when I have interesting stuff from her, I usually post it there. STUG has their main meetings and conferences, and if I get links to their recordings, I put them here. And Tech for Senior, the basic information on Tech for Senior, if you don't watch their Monday meetings or the Thursday live, which is suspended for the month of July. Then specific information on Android, specific information on Apple, specific information on Linux, and critical items on Windows. At that point, we have an alphabetized list of tech channels, everything from alarms to batteries to cars, internet. One of the most important ones seems to be of late security, because there's always a vulnerability waiting or a scam waiting to be posted about. So this gets updated pretty regularly. So we invite you, come take a look. It's free. And if you do come, we like to see you post stuff that's of interest to you as well. So I'll minimize that. So maybe it's going to go down. There we go. And I'm going to start off the first section of our TechSIG on CFCS main meeting with problems, either problems that you want to report and how you solve them, or problems you have and you'd like the people that are here to give you a hand. So I'll bring up my problem, and I know Huey has one that he's significantly had. Drew probably has one or two as well. So we'll kind of go on that sequence, and then it'll open up the floor. Feel free to raise your hand if you want to chime in, and we'll talk about it. And what I'm showing here is my use of Gemini. And what had happened to me is I had bought a B-Link mini computer, and I put Linux on it, and the computer itself had a hardware problem, and I was having problems getting it repaired. Unlike Huey, I couldn't go to Geekom in the United States because they're to B-Link in the United States because they're from China. And they wanted me to ship my B-Link all the way back to China to have it inspected to see if they were going to replace it. So I had purchased it from Amazon and had an Asurion account for all of my electronics, and Asurion agreed to take it and repair it and I couldn't be without a computer, so I went ahead and I bought a Geekome. And I decided, okay, I've made an image backup. I'll just restore that image on my Geekome. And it had Linux on it, and I started playing with it. And eventually I had some problems and couldn't figure out if it was the operating system or the computer itself. Was I having the same kind of hardware problems? Turns out it was at least in part, it was the fact that I restored an image that was configured for a different computer. So even though Macro Reflex says that they can restore images on what they call bare iron, in essence, a computer with no operating system, and it's supposed to make it work, it wasn't 100%. And I finally decided, all right, I'm just going to go ahead and install another version of Linux, and it was Linux Mint, from scratch, and then make it run. Well, I still had problems. And I couldn't figure out, okay, is it my operating system or is it my computer? So I ran some stress tests, even ran them from a flash drive. So I was eliminating the drive that was on. When I ran them from the flash drive, I had no problems. When I ran the stress tests from the computer itself, I did have problems. It would lock up or it would freeze when I was doing different things. And I couldn't figure out what it was. I opened it up. I took a look inside thinking, well, I will try installing Linux on an external SSD and use that to boot up from. And it didn't work well. It's supposed to, but it didn't work well. So I figured I'll open it up and there should be a second slot, and I will just go ahead and put a second M2 SSD. I opened it up. There was a space for it. There was no socket for it. So my particular model, a Geekome model AE47, did not have a space for a second SSD. And I said, that doesn't seem right. So I asked Gemini, and Gemini responsibly said, yep, this particular model doesn't have it. So what am I going to do? Well, they say upgrade to a higher capacity one, like two terabytes, instead of trying to have it run from an external one, or use an external, just for your storage. And I decided to go on Amazon. It was the week before Amazon Prime Day, but I wanted to get it up and running. And I looked at Western Digital Black, and I looked at Samsung, and I looked at some third-party type SSDs, and I asked Gemini to give me some information. I had heard that there were problems with Western Digital Black, and they gave me some information that, oh my God, black screens of death and system crashes, boot failures, host memory buffers. But there are firmware updates. And so, all right, tell me more about it. They did. And they gave me use case problems under Linux. I was concerned about overheating, so gave me information on overheating, and they talked about firmware updates. But I found out later on in this thread, I found out that the firmware updates were only available on Windows and not available on Linux. Then I asked them about the Samsung, which is a similarly priced on Amazon, and also a 2 terabyte. Same thing. They talked about the Samsung had problems, and no problem, just do a firmware update. And that didn't seem to be something, and I have the same problems with the Samsung. So we continue on this whole process, and I really was beginning to wonder, and where am I going to go? Because they're telling me the two top level SSDs have problems, and all the problems were solved with firmware updates. So let's see where we went on this thing. Oh, this was the third party, SK Hynix Platinum. I asked them about, I had opened up, and the SSD that was in there was a Kingston, and it was a 1 terabyte. And they said it's not widely recognized or consumer grade SSD model. And it's likely an OEM or a lesser known budget oriented model. So thank you, Geekom, for choosing not the best quality equipment. Maybe that's my problem. So I kept through this whole thread, finally asking, tell me what you recommend that I do. So let me get down to the final. Yeah, I want to replace it. Give me an idea. Compare the Western Digital and compare it to the Samsung, and then come back and give me a recommendation. And they said, for the absolute best all-around performance, go with the Samsung. And for primary gaming drive where every millisecond of load time counts, go with the Western Digital. So it's literally faster than anything else that was out there. And I called Western Digital, asked for tech support, and I said, okay, I don't have the ability to update firmware. If I order something from Amazon, am I getting the latest firmware that's issued? And they said yes. And we don't have any problems with the current firmware. So that was my decision.
Have you tried the Samsung Magician on the 990 Pros?
But the Magician doesn't run under Linux.
Well, no, but there is a Linux version that will check the firmware on the 990 Pros. I know it does because it does it on mine.
Aha. Okay. Well, I went to their website and
I've got three of them. I've got two one
you got,
terabytes.
do you have the link that you could put in chat for the Linux version? I'd love to get that.
Well, I'm not in Linux at the moment. I'm using a
Okay.
Windows system.
Well, and I didn't get the 990 anyway. I got the Western Digital.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I made the decision. I bought the Western Digital and I put it in, and everything seems to be running, fingers crossed, everything seems to be running well at this point. And I will continue the series that I started about 3 months ago of how I transitioned from Windows to Linux, because it's taken me 3 months to get to this point. And I've done all the basic work ahead of time. Let me see if I share my screen, my regular screen. Let me stop share and then stop. And now I'll start again here in a minute. I'll come to you in a second, Tim. And let me minimize this and minimize this and minimize this. And now I'm going to share again. And I'll share my main desktop and get this out of the way. And I'm not ignoring it, Tim. I'll come to you in a second. Okay, so this is my main screen. And as far as I'm concerned, it's a window like any other computer that could be Windows. I mean, I've got icons for main programs that I run. I got a couple of shortcuts. Let me see if I can get this out of here. Okay. I've got some icons that I've stuck over here. I have a program menu with programs that I can run. I've got a file manager. I have my browser, Brave, and it runs just fine. I have LibreOffice shortcuts sitting down here. I have status icons down here at the bottom. I've got a screen KSnip, which is a screen capture editor. I have Zoom, which is running right now. I've got alert notices if I've got any, it's telling my system's up to date. I have my internet status, and I have my speakers, and I have my time. So as far as I'm concerned, the transition from Windows as an operator went very easily. Okay, let me stop sharing and then I'll get up here. Okay, Tim, you're up.
Okay, I hope you can hear me.
Yes.
Okay, I have been using AI more and more for troubleshooting this year than any time in the past. There are a couple key things you have to remember. One, using the AI as a troubleshooter for your computer problems is the wave of the future. You might as well adapt to it, and you may be able to save yourself some money from not having to take your computer to a computer technician to do some kind of a repair, whether it's hardware or software. Now, in mine, it's the quality of the question or statement of the problem you are experiencing that is key. But each of these AI clients allow you, after you read what it responded with, maybe you see, I need to add some additional information, and you just type that in. It keeps the conversation going and giving you better and better troubleshooting responses. But the second key that's most important, any suggestions the AI makes that you try out, you have to reference that particular step that it's specifying above, and then tell it what the response was in doing that step, because you're giving it feedback. That feedback is critical for narrowing down the problem and getting it down to the nitty-gritty. And it recognizes my knowledge and experience in troubleshooting the problems with an AI and my technical background. So you have to adopt AI at least for troubleshooting. I use Copilot, I use Gemini, Claude, and one or two others along with Chat GPT. They all do a pretty good job, but it's the quality of that question or statement of problem and giving feedback exactly what you did try out that it suggested and what the result was of that attempt. And that will help the AI do a better job. Under Copilot, it usually says quick response. If you click on the little down arrow that's to the right of that, you will get two more options. And the middle one is think deeper. And I usually use the think deeper on Copilot to get me the best results with the least amount of error. So
Okay.
that's my 2 cents.
Tim, do you ever ask the same question to multiple
Yes.
sources and compare answers?
Yes.
Oh, yes. I do that periodically, especially when I'm getting into something that turns out to be very difficult. And I've had a few recently, very, very difficult ones. The doggone chat goes a mile long. And that's when you start thinking about taking the questions I'm asking another AI client for the same problem and responses back. The feedback gives it an education. You're educating it so that it does a better job now and in the future, not only for you, but for everybody else using and asking about similar problems.
In Linux, there's usually I can just install something by going to the software manager, and it'll recognize what I'm looking for, and it'll download a package and install it.
Yes.
It's kind of like the Microsoft Store, if you or the Windows Store, if you think about it that way. But there are many times, or several times, I've needed to use the command line interface to do something, And so that's where I go to the AI and I'll ask it the question, okay, how do I install XYZ? And it'll come back and say, okay, and it'll actually give me the commands and tell me what to do. And I've told Tim this several times. I may not understand what the heck that command is asking me to do, but it's asking me to do it. But that's where I'll go to the second AI and say the exact same prompt. And I want to see if it's giving me the same answers. And it might be slightly different, or it might be a slightly different way of doing it, but it's never contradicted itself. And that's what I want to make sure that I'm not getting a hallucinogenic command, if you will, that doesn't exist.
Well, that's where some of the AI agents are giving you, besides the quick response where it can have some hallucination, go to the think deeper or something similar to that in the individual AI client. I've been using this AI for troubleshooting 10, 11 in Windows and about a half a dozen or more different, very different Linux distributions where I've run into problems. And it makes life a little bit complicated initially for you. But as you gain knowledge and experience in doing it, that gets better and better, and you get better and better results quicker and resolve most of your problems.
Agreed. Huey. Oh, you're muted. Sorry.
Yeah, I am, aren't I? Okay, I'm back. Sometimes when I ask one of the AIs on how to do something, it gives me step by step, and I try to follow those steps, and the menu's different, or it's not there. I'll tell it that isn't what I have, or I'm seeing this, and it says, "Oh, you have a different version," and it corrects itself sometimes. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it doesn't know, or it might give you another workaround. So there are some different ways. But I would like to show you something when you're using multiples. I'm going to show you a website you didn't know about, and it's free.
SNEOS.
Yep.
Yeah, I knew about that. Yes. Yep.
And here it is. When you click it, it's SNEOS, SNEOS.com.
So let's give it a prompt, Huey, since you're there,
Okay.
and ask it to compare the top 3 brands of 2 terabyte M2 SSDs.
The top.
Does that
3.
include a 9100?
Well, I'm gonna let it come up with the answer. Then I could go
The top 3 brands.
top 3 brands of 2 terabyte M2 M.2 SSDs.
Whoops. Come on. Oh, dot M.
M.2 SSDs.
Oh, M.2. Is that it, or do I have to?
Yeah, that's it. Let's
Okay.
see what it comes up
Okay,
with.
and click send.
It's thinking. Yeah, I see the
Yeah.
churning.
Yeah, it'll be what? Crucial, Western Digital, and Samsung.
Samsung, Western. Yeah. Okay, let's see what they.
Yep, exactly what it's in.
Haven't seen the second show up on mine yet.
There it is.
Yeah, a little different. So ChatGPT gave us a nice easy table, and all right, let's see what Western.
Well, Samsung's
Oh,
got
there's
a
all right, there's
9100.
theirs. Yep, there's theirs. Okay.
The 9100 blows everything away.
And scroll that one down, see if they give us a table.
Yeah.
Oh, good. Okay. So that's the kind of thing you can do when you have 3 alongside each other. And if I remember correctly, you can configure this to change. Maybe you have to buy the premium lets you configure which AIs are used.
Yeah, and you also get more choice. You can have up to 6
Yes.
at one time.
Yes.
And let's see, do they have pricing here?
Get
Yeah.
premium now. Yeah.
Can you get it to continue the conversation though? If you add in another comment,
Yes, you
it
can
ignores
say,
it in the free
yeah,
version.
yeah, you can say, okay, I've from the three that you've selected, give me the top two, or compare the advantages and disadvantages of each.
Well, it does that at the end of the whole
Okay.
thing with the summary, but
Yeah.
when you add in another question to it, it doesn't take into account the first part of the
Yes,
question.
it should.
I've never been able to
Oh,
do it with the
okay.
free version.
All right. I thought it did, but once I've seen something, then I usually switch to the one that gave me the best answer, and then I'll ask a different question.
And going back to what Tim said, if you're not using AI to solve problems or questions, you're not doing yourself justice. And I have found it the most simple thing. Uh, like I said in Word, if I wanted to find out where the header was, I just asked it and it told me right away. So it's the questions you would turn around and ask somebody who knew, or you call somebody up and say, "Hey, Tim, how do I do this?" You just ask that, and the answer is right there. You don't have to leave voicemail and wait for Tim to call back, and then he's, "Oh, I'm not sure what version of this and what is that." It gives you the answer, and you can get it down to where you need to be. AI is just amazing what you can get as far as problem solving.
Did you want to add on to that, Tim?
Yeah. I, Huey brought up after I spoke last a critical thing. As I was going through the responses from the AIs, frequently, a little too often, I would have to say, I caught errors in what they were stating and what I was seeing on my machine as well. So sometimes you have to, again, give feedback to the AI. And every time I took the option that they were suggesting and found something different than what they specified, I gave the feedback also of the results I was seeing. And that came back then with a correction. And thank you for correcting them about it. So that means in the future, people asking similar question will get a more accurate answer to the problem. And one other thing that's coming up, especially with Windows 11, is that you have some depreciated troubleshooters in 10 and 11. And they're going away. And every time you ask for troubleshooting now, especially in 11, you get a chat box. And that's how it will examine your system if you allow it. And in some instances, it will be able to actually make the correction for you. Not always, but in some instances that can happen, especially with network issues where you're having trouble with Wi-Fi or a network.
Okay. And not to, I mean, we're focusing on technology, but pick any field. We traveled to Nebraska from Florida in May, and I didn't want to have to go on the TSA website and plow through all of the new rules and regulations. So I said, what changes to TSA travelers should a senior be aware of? And it came back and it talked about a whole bunch of things, including not having to take our shoes off and how to pack medications and supplements. And, you know, if you're handicapped and you need assistance going to the gate, that you're going to get the priority going through the checking and all of that stuff. And I thought it was good. It allowed me to know what had changed. Other areas, cooking. My wife came home with a round roast, and we haven't done a round roast in our oven since we replaced it last year. And it's a convection oven. And so I just asked ChatGPT, okay, I've got a 5-pound round roast and I want to put it in a Westinghouse convection oven. Please give me a recipe for any for preparing it, and please provide information for cooking. And it did a very good job. Came out pretty nice, medium rare, just the way we like it. So, you know,
Making me hungry.
and I take supplements and I exchange information with some of my holistic medical providers and what I'm taking. They tell me what I should think about, and I'll always throw it into the AI and have it come and tell me the benefits and the side effects of supplements and which ones might conflict with the actual prescription medications I'm taking. And they always give you, you know, their proviso at the bottom, always check with a doctor or whatever. But on the other hand, I was at a social function the other day and a retired county judge was there, and we were talking about AI. And she said, "Oh, yes, you know, in her research, she now uses it regularly." She said, "But be aware that AI does still hallucinate." She said, "I always check two or three, and then I'll go to my law books online and I'll make sure that the case law that they actually say they're quoting exists, because the AI will actually come up with a case that never was tried. The site number is wrong, and the plaintiffs aren't the plaintiffs in the case on any of the cases that they cite in this hallucination." She said, "But it's the most realistic answer that you could ever imagine." So here we have a legal professional, been an attorney and been a judge for about 25 years. And she's using AI because it does help her, but saying still be very cautious. And I would say the same thing, trust but verify. So,
And if I might spend a second or two touting myself, on the fourth Friday of every month, I have a Let's Talk AI show that I do for an hour. It's a discussion group. It's not this is how you do it, although we may end up doing that sometimes. But it's just where we try to involve as many people as we can in the discussion, where we talk about AI, and it's everything from very beginning to about where I am and Mike is using some of this stuff. But by all means, if you're interested and are not on my list, send me an email at huey@huey.net, and I will add you to the list. If you haven't been getting my newsletter every month and you thought you were on the list, drop me a note on that too, because I think I missed a few people over the last many months, and it just got buried in my email, and I didn't get it in time. So by all means, if you'd like to join us, please do.
okay, so that I led into this, and I thought that was a good segment. We've taken up 3/4 of our time. But Huey, I know you've been through a major problem with your Dell, so tell us.
Yeah, I bought a Dell a year ago, May, and I really like it. It's got an i9 Intel chip in it. It's got 32 gigabytes of RAM. I've got a 2 gigabyte SSD card in it, and it's fast and it's good. I use it it's a desktop. It's an XPS, and I use it for all of my videos and so on. That's what the purpose of it was. Well, about December, I started having a lot of blue screens. And so I called the Dell support. I did have a year's support with it. And so I called support, and over several phone calls of several hours each, where we tried different software things, they narrowed it down. It's got to be hardware. So, and they even connected me to Microsoft directly, and I had Microsoft helping me. So anyway, the Dell said it's hardware. So the first thing they said, well, it sounds like it's memory. So they sent me memory chips for me to take out the old ones, put the new one in and send it back. Well, that didn't fix it. So they decided it was the CPU. So that I would not try to put in myself because it's CPU, the CPU fan and glue and all that sort of thing. So they actually dispatched somebody that came to my house and took it apart, put the new CPU in, put the fan in, put it back together. He doesn't do any software, so I had to install Windows again, and it kind of worked. It worked for a couple of months, but then I started getting blue screens again, more and more often, more issues, and then finally, after calling support again in April of this year, April or May, I started calling support with the problems. We started checking things out again. So I lost my Windows. So I had to install Windows and it wouldn't let me. It just wouldn't put Windows back on. So they said it needs to come back to us. So I sent it back to Dell. They first shipped me a box overnight with FedEx. I put it in a box. I shipped it back to them. They had it the next day. They worked on it several days, and they said it's ready. We'll send it back to you. And do you want the Windows? Do you want us to wipe the windows? Well, there were no windows there, so I said yes. So I had a pristine, brand new computer, basically, software-wise. So when I got it, I had to install Windows from it being on the stick. And they did, by the way, they sent me a new stick with Windows on it, and that failed as well. Then I sent it back to them, and then they sent it back to me, and I got it back about a week or so ago. And what I got was basically, they didn't tell me what it was. So I emailed them and said, okay, what was the problem? They said, we replaced the CPU. So that would be the second time the CPU was replaced. But that's all they said. So I wrote back a note, and let me share my screen here. And why is that there? And this is the let's see. It says, thank you for the note. I'm reinstalling all my software using the XPS without any problems. You seem to have solved the problem. Thank you. I have a question about the CPU failures. I have had 2 fail. I know that Intel had some issues, but would have thought the CPU that was installed in December would have not been from the same batch. Was it a bad CPU that was installed, or is there something with the motherboard maybe causing the CPU to fail? And the response I got to that was, regarding your question about the CPU failures, this is a known issue that has affected a specific batch of processors. The CPU installed in December was not part of that affected batch. Based on our diagnostics, the repair history, the failures you've experienced are most likely related to the CPU itself and not due to any underlying issue with the motherboard. That said, we'll continue to monitor your system's performance. If any further issues arise, please don't hesitate to reach out. So I thought a nice response, and I am really impressed with Dell's service. Although I did spend much more time trying to troubleshoot it than I probably should have. I should have insisted, as they had asked me, do you want to send it back? I should have sent it back to them.
Interesting.
So are you going to go with AMD next time instead of Intel?
Well, I don't know if they're interchangeable on the same motherboard, but no, because it's part of it's. Yeah, Tim says no, and it's also part of the warranty. And I did in May extend the warranty another year, and boy, am I glad I did, because all that was free.
And you have an NVIDIA GPU in your computer.
Yeah. I got a 4060, I think it is.
And you wanted to have that card so that you could do a lot of the editing and things like that a lot faster.
That's correct. That does a lot. It's a graphics processor on top of the CPU, which is a computer processor, central processor unit. So it's got a lot of video memory to be able to handle a lot of the things that I do.
What onboard video is it using? Is it the Intel video?
There is no onboard because I'm using, oh, I don't know if there is onboard or not, because I had the video card in there and that was set up when I got it. So I never looked to see if it had any onboard or not.
Because the AMD one has the Radeon as part of the thing, plus the NVIDIA cards as well.
You got your choice sometimes, and you can override, what's on board. But
The nice thing with Dell, and it's not an advertisement for Dell because I'm not getting anything for this. The nice thing with Dell is you go in and you pick the computer, and then you can tell it what updates or upgrades you want when you purchase it, and you kind of piece it together. The one thing I didn't like about it is they charged me $50 for McAfee antivirus, and there was no way to take that off. When I say there's no way, there was no way to not purchase it. As soon as I got it, I took it off the system, so I never installed it. It was just sitting there waiting to be installed. But it was an extra $50 that I would have liked not to have paid.
Oh. Okay.
I bought a similar system to Huey's. It's the Dell XPS 8960.
That's the one I have. Yep.
Yes. And but I've got it with an i7, and I have not had nearly the problems that Huey did.
Yeah.
I was really sorry to hear about it.
You've got an i9, a Core i9, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had a good experience using Dell Outlet. They also offer a 1-year warranty, but your situation may vary. But yeah.
So the Outlet is taking things that aren't currently in production. It's just what's left. Or...
Not sure about that. Possibly. Obviously, it's refurbished, but you do get a 1-year warranty, just like you would a new machine.
Yeah. So they get inventory from various sources, like returned items, warranty repairs, things that get exchanged with them. And typically, if you're getting high-end equipment, you could save anywhere from $500 to $1,000 on the PC just by getting a refurb and getting that 1-year warranty.
Good.
Yeah, I don't usually, if you buy a computer, let's say from Best Buy, I don't recommend you getting a service contract. However, the one that Drew has, and I think Mike has as well, from Assyrian, covers all of your items, and it's not Best Buy's repair, it's Assyrian, which is You Break, I Fix. They bought all of them as well, and that's where you take it. But I would, I'd be very hesitant in using the Best Buy repair. The Geeks, what do they call it? The
Geek Squad.
Geek Squad. They have really reduced the quality of what they do and how they do it. They cut back a lot of employees, and it's difficult. If you're lucky, you get a good person, but not usually. It's if they open the book and follow the directions.
My original Geek Squad warranty was assigned to Assyrian. So, and Best Buy actually sent me a notification and then asked me if I wanted to renew, and I said no. And then I went ahead separately and bought the all electronic equipment from Amazon. Drew, what have you been working on?
Well, most recently, for the last week or two, I've been playing around with Sandboxy, Sandboxy Plus. I started off with the free version that they offer, and I discovered that when you try and sandbox an application install, it doesn't completely isolate it from your existing Windows. So, for example, I have a note-taking app on my PC called Joplin, and when I run it, it brings me my data. I downloaded the latest version of Joplin and I said, install it in a normal sandbox, which is what you would get if you, with the free version. And after the install and it ran, it showed me all of my notes that I have on the app that I have on my C drive. And it really disturbed me to see that in a program that advertises itself as a sandbox, it actually pulled up all of my data on my C drive, even though it was theoretically sandboxed. I don't know what they sandbox, but it's not 100% of what you are doing. So I wanted to try their more secure sandbox. And after 5 minutes, it terminates because if you don't pay for it. So I threw down the $40 just to give it a try. And I've been creating, I have a sandbox now for browsers. So I've got Firefox, Edge, and Opera installed in a sandbox. And you can take snapshots and revert back to those snapshots. So if I want to do something on the internet and I know that I don't want to worry about pre-existing cookies or any other tracking data, I go into a sandbox and I do I go wherever I want to go, and then I revert back to the previous snapshot, and it throws away everything I just did. So it's now clean again for when the next time it is I want to use it. So I've been finding it handy to do that. When I reinstalled Joplin using their higher security that you pay for, it installed it in a secured sandbox, and it came up with a clean blank, app the way it was supposed to. So if you want to use Sandboxy, you can try it, the free version for starters. But if you really want to get serious about sandboxing, you got to pay them the $40, unfortunately.
Is it Windows only?
Yes,
Doesn't run on a Mac or under Linux?
not that I'm aware of.
Okay. Okay, I'll open the floor up to anybody that would like to either talk about what you're working on that you want to share, or if you have a tech question that you'd like to ask. Just raise your hand, please, and we'll call on you. Go down to reactions and raise hand. Yes, Steve.
Drew, have you tried the free version of VMware? Broadcom bought them. They
Oh,
made it freeware
yeah.
now.
Oh, yes, I have VMware Pro installed, and I do virtual machines. I have a download of a Microsoft appliance, and I import that into VMware, and it gives me a fully installed version of Windows 11 Developer Edition with a 3-month license. So that's what I do most of my testing in, is a virtual machine. I'm very new to Sandboxy. It's only been a couple of weeks since I've been playing with it.
Okay. Anyone else? Yes, Harry.
I have a question that's a little bit out of left field, so hope no one's offended. Where my wife and I are looking at possibly purchasing a new SUV, and I see that the 2025 models, some of the companies say that they can read highway signs, not speed limits, but text-based. Does anybody know if that actually works? And B, is that OCR, or how does that work? Does anybody know?
Mike,
Yes.
I have a 22 Civic, and it does that. It's basically the camera looks for the road signs, basically, is what it is.
And I was going to say Tesla's navigation system does recognize, signs. I don't know if it's actually reading them. I have a Hyundai, 2024 Hyundai, and when I'm using Waze, or I'm using Google Maps on the application, on the driver's panel with the speedometers, If I go into a school zone, I'll get a little school zone sign that shows up.
So it replicates the sign. It
It
doesn't
replicates
interpret
the
it.
sign, yes, but I don't know if it's actually seeing it or it's pulling it up from the map.
There are some cars that actually see the signs and display those independently of whether you're in Android CarPlay or not. I drove it was a Pacifica van that had that feature where you're driving down the road and you may see a sign that says, right lane is for right turns only. And that will flash up on your dashboard.
The Goulds on their blog and on their YouTube channel describe riding in a Waymo in Seattle, I believe, or San Francisco. I don't know.
San Francisco,
San
yeah.
Francisco, yeah.
Yeah.
And they were taking pictures of the screen up in front that the nav was seeing. So everything that was out there, pedestrians, signs, trees, you name it, that was all being seen by the sensors on the car so that it could be processed for the navigation.
Yep.
I applaud their stamina or whatever. I don't think I'd like to be in a 100% no driver, not even in the car, but apparently the cities are using them.
Yeah, it was quite amazing how it could predict when it saw one car look as though it may pull out into the lane and it stopped
Yeah.
Mhm.
to wait to see what it did, which I thought was quite
Yeah.
interesting.
Some of the cars have park assist radar. My car is old, so it has park assist, but not to the level of quality that they offer today. My niece just got a brand new van, and hers is a 25 Honda Odyssey, I think. And she could be in a parking. We were in a shopping plaza at a Publix in a slot, and as soon as she put the car into reverse with her foot still on the brake, the car alerted her that there was a pedestrian walking past her car. And then shortly thereafter, that another car was coming close to her car and don't move. And it actually assisted her in getting out of the parking spot safely.
I think I saw this on Fords that you can parallel park. You pull up to the side and you press parallel parking and just take your hands off. And as long as things are clear in the spot, the steering wheel will turn and the thing will back up and go in forward and then move forward and do a better job than you probably would be looking back over your shoulder or following the lines on a screen. But I kind of wish I did have that because I do get the lines on the screen, but I find that I'm just not quite where I need to be.
I have a Flintstone car. I just pick it up and then just move it in space.
Yeah, I've seen those with the four-wheel steering and they all turn and the whole thing moves sideways.
The canopy.
Okay, well, it's 4 o'clock and I think that we've had a good session. And thank you, Huey, for doing yours before ours. And I think the two together gives us a good Sunday afternoon well, depends in Alaska time. It hasn't reached 2 o'clock yet, but
Yeah.
morning, wherever you are. So thank you for coming. And I'm going to go ahead and stop recording and let me save for those of you that haven't done it, go up to open up chat and there's 3 dots up there at the top. And I'm clicking save chat so I can send it out with the recording. And
You're still recording.
am I still recording? Okay, let's stop recording now.